It's showtime at Homestead, Miami.
Andre Baranowskis at the line, steals it in the Indy 250.
Gordon to Baxter's in trouble, there they go. Gordon to the wall, jumps right around.
Side by side on the final lap, coming to the checkered flag.
Steve Morgan, the last lap pass, and the victory in Las Vegas.
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race number 9 in season number 5 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill Series. We are here at the Armory Digital Superspeedway. It's the main event of the weekend since the Chick-fil-A Cup Series is off for Easter. This is the Armory Digital 250 around this 2.6 mile speedway in Seattle, Washington. It's going to be a 20 lap event here. And no pit stops in this event either, since it is, of course, a super speedway. Luke Rainey, Trey, Barto, for the first time. Bradley Reim going to be on the call for the race. And Bradley, it's your first time ever calling a race. You got 3 guys that you own in this series. For those guys in particular, what do you want them to do, especially considering one of them starting on the outside pole for this race?
Well, for the main thing, I just want them to stay out of trouble, don't hit the apron, and keep in the draft. And just execute and don't get involved in a wreck, because a wreck can help your day or a wreck can end your day, and like that.
And we never know when a wreck could happen here at Armory Digital. This is one of those tracks where wrecks, they can happen and sometimes they can. It's not like a guarantee as it is at Daytona and Talladega sometimes. They could easily go the whole race caution-free here today, but we don't know what to expect. And Luke, it's your first race doing this season for us here in the NOFSRL. Do you think we're going to see a wreck today, or do you think it's going to be a calmer race compared to other super speedway races we've had?
I'm going to go with we're going to see a clean race the whole way through. I think at Armory Digital, the interesting thing to note is that these guys are not necessarily as tightly in the pack most of the time as they are at Daytona and Talladega. They tend to spread out a little bit. A lot of that's because of that mini straightaway in turns between turns 1 and 2. So with that separation, I mean, that could also be the cause of some wrecks because we have guys that are trying to get cleared to the inside. But it's a 50-50 call on that one. I'm going to say we're clean, though. That's where I'm putting my chips at.
And we're going to have to see how it all plays out here today. We've seen wrecks here before, and we've seen races without wrecks before. So, like Luke said, it's a 50-50 on whether we will have a wreck in this race or not. In the point standings, even though Josh King had a massive disappointment at Bristol, of course Trey knows a lot about that, he actually gained a little bit of points on second place. 266 points for Josh King. Jake Rogers is 50 points behind. Then it's Parker Smith. I just wrote down Smith. Now that was the dumbest thing I've done in my life because we got 50,000 Smiths in this series. Parker Smith, 51 points behind, Jacob Hammond, 52 points behind, and Daniel Voiles, 53 points behind. It's a 50-point gap between first and second, but it's a 1-point difference from every position beyond that in the top 5. Daniel Voiles won our last race in the Turkey Hill Series at Bristol last week, and now he starts on the pole here at Armory Digital looking for his 3rd win of the season. Both times, Voiles has won this season in the Turkey Hill Series. My good friend Trey Barto has been in the booth. He's in the booth again. We'll have to see if that works out again for Daniel Voiles, because Trey Barto being in the booth has worked out pretty well for driver number 96 this season. Only driver to win 2 races so far this season. He's looking for his 3rd for Hairgel Motorsports. Brandon Mayhew in the 02 machine starting on the outside pole. In number 2, we got Christian Vargas, the Phoenix winner, starting alongside the number 12 machine of Dale Salzman. Row number 3, Jonathan Logan in the number 63 machine is starting alongside somebody. I can't quite tell who it is quite yet, and it is the number 24 of Matthew Brown. Igor Barretto and Carter Friesen in row 4. Jake Rogers second in the points, alongside Zachary DeLello in row number 5. Double check and make sure everyone's rolling off all right. And as of now, they are, so hopefully it stays that way. So Luke Rainey, Trey Barto, and Bradley Reim can give us the call for today's Armory Digital 250 here from the Armory Digital Superspeedway. Take it away, guys.
And thank you very much. So we got about half a lap of pacing before these guys are ready to take the green flag. And just in the Pacific Northwest here, like Napa said, though, this is the first ever daytime race here at Armory Digital. And certainly going to make the racing different. And Trey, I'm going to ask you a question here about the daytime racing. Just talk about the elements that we are going to see come into play in this race that we typically don't see here, but because of the different conditions, they will be in the play here.
Well, I mean, of course, whenever you think of daytime racing, the first thing you think of is grip levels. With the sun being out, the track's gonna be a little hotter, which means the tires aren't gonna be as grippy as they usually are, which means the cars will be sliding around. Not like ice sliding, but it'll be getting up there. So it'll be interesting to see these drivers can handle it, and of course, the sun getting in the eyes as we are getting ready to go green.
That is true. That sun could get in your eyes, but as these guys make their way down the start-finish line, and very akin to Talladega Superspeedway, the start-finish line about 1,000 feet further down the racetrack, an important detail to mention heading into this race. But here we go, 2x2, ready to get going. Want to wish everybody a happy Easter, and racing at Armory Digital is underway.
Daniel Voiles is getting out there, first car single file out front as he gets a decent jump there from the guys behind him. He's going to do his best to make sure he can control both of the lanes to protect his lead, but it'll definitely be interesting as Super Speedway is not the easiest to block both lanes.
And nothing really going on yet in this pack, still 2x2, but down to the inside here for the race lead. Looks like is that the number 82 that is going for the lead?
That is the 82. Christian Vargas did not want to wait from him as they are 4 wide behind him for second place. Very intense racing here as they're 4x4 actually. These guys are not waiting for the laps to wind down. They want to get out front as soon as they can before anyone else can get out before them.
And that Pennzoil number 2 of Igor Barreto trying to make his way forward. He's going to get caught 3 wide in the middle down the front straightaway. And to complete the first lap, it's Vargas out in front to the outside going to 63, Jonathan Logan. Gotta be careful in turns 1 and 2 hitting that wall. Bradley, can you talk a little bit about in turns 1 and 2 whenever these guys get to the outside, almost hitting that wall, what type of threat that wall may pose for these guys throughout the race?
Yeah, so the threat basically is if you hit the wall, you can create a huge accident, which will bring out a caution and might create a big one. So you gotta be careful, especially with the straightaway and coming into turn number 2. That's why everybody slides up into. Almost hits the wall like Daniel Voiles did in the 96 Chevrolet.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like that's the 00, I believe, of Mitchell Collins here going for the race lead, trying to get some push here down the front straightaway. More help and a preferred groove. That's a good combination to have here. But take a look at Parker Smith, going to get caught 3 wide in the middle, down to the inside is Noah Clifton. And take a look at this pack here. Perfect unison, triple file. Throughout most of this field, you can see a little bit of scattering through the turns, but these guys are looking 3x3 here, pretty solid off turn 2, as there you see squeezing in front, Jonathan Logan did, and now heading down the back straightaway once again on the 3rd lap of action.
Yeah, this track is definitely a little bit wider than Talladega and Daytona, which means these guys are a little more comfortable racing 4 wide, sometimes even 5 wide. But these guys seem to be liking going 3 wide. They're able to hold the lines, have plenty of space between them, and with more lines creates more opportunities for drivers to try to make moves and get up farther in the pack. Just in case that wreck does happen, they want to be ahead of it and not behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, an interesting thing to note about this racetrack is that you could probably go 5 wide at certain points. I don't know if we're going to see any of that in that race. And frankly, I mean, if we're going to keep it clean, I don't know if going 5 wide is going to be the way to do that. But looking for the race lead here off turn 2. Could have a battle right here, but it looks like the 46 is going to try and protect it here for just a little bit longer. Now you see we're down the double file at the front of the field. So just interesting to see the chemistry of this pack here, changing its shape throughout this race. That's going to be important here once we get down to the nitty-gritty, because if we have a pack that's shaped like this, come to the finish, it's going to be pretty easy for the leader to hang on to the lead or someone towards the front to win the race. But if we have 3, 4, and, you know, like I said, 5 wide, someone from 10th, 15th place could easily, from one lap, go from that position all the way up to the front. I would not be shocked to see that whatsoever. But there you see, going for the race lead here, it's the number 39 of Josh Williamson. He will get cleared, trying to find some help here from Nick Smith. And heading into turn number 2, looks like he's staying out in front right now. And now clear as well as Zach Rogers. But now the 10 will pull down to the inside. So, Bradley, I mean, just thinking about the way this pack is shaping up, I mean, like I even mentioned it, like the different types of packs we're going to see. I mean, how do you think this pack may look here once we get down to the end of this race?
Honestly, it can all change with the wreck, and it also can change by just getting out of the draft and shuffling all the way to the back. You might even see somebody from all the way back in last place come up with the win, but you never know when it comes to Super Speedway. It's anybody's race.
And we are seeing the 4 wide here just outside the top 5. Down to the inside, that is Matthew Brown trying to get a push from Bobo Jones in there, making their way forward in a hurry, seeing how much momentum they're going to try and get here against Carter Friesen in the 23. Doesn't look like they're getting much of a push here. So kind of interesting to see that. I mean, those are the type of notes that drivers should be making throughout this race, in my opinion, is that they should be thinking about, okay, how fast is that inside line moving in this situation, in that situation. Prepare yourself for the ending, because it'll be here sooner than you think. We're down to 14 laps to go as we get down to the line. Look at this move down to the inside. The 37 of Logan Williams pulling down to the inside the top 5 now. And heading out turn number 4, looking to complete lap 6.
Yeah, these guys are still really spread out, but you know, they're all kind of minding their own P's and Q's. They're not getting too aggressive yet. No one's I don't think anyone's made any contact with anyone else. They're all making clean moves at the moment. I mean, it is getting a little sketchy there. As you can see, the 25 and the 93 getting a little close. They're in the middle of the 4 wide situation, but they sorted out. This is a very interesting racetrack where, like I said, these guys can make a lot more moves, can make it 3 or 4 wide a lot more than they usually can, which you know, always makes it exciting to watch. But for these drivers, it definitely makes it a little bit more stressful for them as they try not to destroy their race cars.
Yeah, without a doubt, and you see Friesen out in front here, still trying to control us here on that outside line, and just the help on that outside line as well as the track position just not there. But Friesen's still trying to get that push, looking perhaps even trying to get a little bit close, doing some side draft artwork against Joshua Rush perhaps, but now 3 wide down to the inside as those two are stalling each other out. Christian Vargas pulling a Ron Bouchard, cutting down to the inside and getting to the race lead with some help from behind. That's Zach Rogers in the 93. And now back to the uniform triple file in this pack, and here's a 75 Alex Bonsignor moving up in this field.
Yeah, definitely. He's a very well-known face. Definitely knows how to get it done here at the super speedways. He's definitely, you know, making his way up to the front, doing moves that he needs to make, and it looks like he's actually going to challenge for the lead here on the bottom side as the 82 goes up with the 93. The 75s has help from the 00 and the 39 of Josh Williamson. Definitely, they're making that move, and hopefully they'll stick together and get a little bit farther away from this pack.
Bonsignor will lead the line. I'll tell you one interesting move he made there. He got real close to the left rear quarter panel of Zach Rogers, and you see those elephant ear spoilers on these Turkey Hill Series cars. He sucked that air right off the 93, stalled out his momentum, got to the inside. But not only did it do that, but it also slowed down the 82 Christian Vargas. It didn't give him enough of a push, and the 75 shot out in front because of it. But I'll tell you what, that mid-pack was getting very interesting as we were watching down the tribal, but they've sorted it back down to 3 wide, so it's just how quickly things are changing here at Armory Digital. It's the most interesting part about this whole thing. But Mitchell Collins moving to the race lead here, trying to find some help of Noah Clifton, who's been hanging on to the front of this pack here. And down the inside, and look at these lanes here. There's some gaps here every once in a while in this pack. If you're on the outside line, if you're slipping back, I mean, typically at super speedways, the outside line, that tends to really not go in your favor. But you have these gaps, and if you're on the top side, you can easily, at one point or another, find your way back down to the inside, make your way forward. But then again, it does come at a cost because the inside line isn't necessarily as mobile as it would typically be at other super speedways. But you see, heading out turn number 2 here, looking for the race lead up here. Got a mini battle going on up there, trying to get a push on that inside line. Could be seeing some 3 wide, though. And doesn't look like we're going to be 3 wide quite yet, but Mark Allen going to be slipping back on the outside line, nearing halfway at Armory Digital.
Yeah, you can actually see the 41 there of Josh King, your guys' points leader, actually starting to make a fight there for the top 10. Definitely making his way up to the front of the pack. He wants to get a really good finish, just to continue to increase his points lead. He's already got at least 50 or so more points over second place. I believe it was 50 or 51. So with a good finish here today, he could easily jump it up another couple points there to just secure his lead more. So if he does end up having a bad race in the next week or two, he does have a little little bit of a buffer room there, so he won't have to worry as much as he would if he was only, say, 10 or so points back, or 10 or so points above second place.
And Bradley, I mean, you look at the 41 here. Typically, super speedway racing, it's known as being the great equalizer, and that tends to be detrimental for guys that are typically doing very well at the top of the point standings, because some of them could easily have bad days and they lose a large quantity of points at the end of the day. For a 41 to be out in front in this one, of all races, talk about the importance of that.
Well, I mean, if he goes on to get like a really good finish, like a top 10, that can really help his points run. And even if, he can move up in the points, but he's in first, and anything can help him except for a really bad finish. But he really wants this race win, as well, everybody does. It's everybody's race. Is he just going for the lead here on the 9 who I believe that's Hunter Blade.
Yeah, and you said something interesting there at the end, how he's going for the lead. Think about how that happened, though. Hunter Blade pulled down to the inside, got clear of him, but the 41, he had a hole to get back underneath him, and he was able to move to the race lead. But this pack is getting a little bit interesting here, especially towards the front of the field. How much 4 wide can we see at the front of this pack here? Because this, oh boy, it's getting sketchy, let's just say that.
Yeah, well, the 41 did get help from the 47 when he went for the lead, which, keep in mind, that's his teammate. But the 22's giving him a good push, and notice Daniel Voiles is also riding on 4th on the bottom line as well.
Yeah, this is Jordan Lopez moving up to the front here as we're at near 7 laps to go, but right now it's Josh King who's in control of this pack. Well, not necessarily in control, because he's still got a man to his outside. That would be the 98 with Joshua Rush. But King's still trying to pull that momentum down to the inside, but Lopez could be looking for the lead here off 4. Yeah, there he goes, pulling down the inside. He got right to the inside of the 41, taking that clean air away from him, trying to use that side draft, and he's going to try and move to the front. He won't be with the line, but he's going to get him at one point or another here. Off to turn number 1 they go. 7 laps remaining.
Yeah, as you can actually, like you guys mentioned before, you can see Daniel Voiles there, your pole sitter of this race, is started to fall back near the beginning there, but around, I think it was lap 12 or 13, he dove down to that inside, and he's slowly making his way up as we believe that was a car into the wall there. I didn't get to see it. I wasn't looking at the screen at that moment, but I believe he did brush the wall there, so hopefully whoever that was, that looks like the Pokemon car. I can't really tell the number here at the moment, but hopefully that damage isn't too bad, and it doesn't look like it is, so hopefully he'll be able to continue the race.
And yeah, I mean, the nice thing about that is that he brushed it. He didn't necessarily slam it, because sometimes you see guys, they hit it and they just can't get off it. Not only do they lose all the spots, they might even lose the draft. They might even separate the pack, which that's terrible whenever that happens. That's extremely detrimental to a bunch of different drivers, because then you have to spend the next however many laps trying to catch back up. But the good news is that we're only speaking hypotheticals, because that did not happen. He's able to get back in line. Might be a long way to the back of the pack, though. But for the lead, Trey Smith trying to get a push there down the inside. Oh, never mind. 3 wide down to the bottom. Goes to 46 of Clifton. But no help going his direction. A bit of an interesting element there. And Lopez, because of that, will get clear for the lead.
Yeah, Lopez is now going to make his car as wide as possible, blocking all 3 lanes here, but might not be able to get down to that bottom in time. But the 46 there of Noah Clifton is going to try to challenge him, but not going to get there, as the 39 there is going to try to come and help him and push him to that lead, bring the 39 with him, as well as the entire bottom lane there, as the 24 actually does not fall.
Oh boy.
Ooh. That a little bit
5 wide almost. We might be 5 wide back in there as well, but this is where things are getting crazy. With 5 laps to go, these guys know they've got to start moving to the front. If we have a caution this lap, we'll have a 2-lap shootout, but after that, any yellow will end the race once they get it back around to the line. Clifton now looking for the race lead. We'll see if he has a little bit more help going his direction this time, and it does look like he's going to have something to say, but they're going to go 3 wide. Doesn't necessarily matter, though, because it's in the corner, so the only damage I could do to Clifton is if the 24 here, if Matthew Brown gets to his inside, which it doesn't look like he's going to be able to quite yet, but still getting closer, and now he pulls out to the inside. So coming to 4 laps to go, looking pretty good to have a clean race. We better have a clean race here the whole way forward, because any caution would end the race prematurely, and hopefully we're going to see us go the whole way 5 wide, back in row 4, 8th place. Oh boy, this is going to get intense, guys.
Intensity
Oh, and
is
the-
definitely picking up here. I'm sorry, Bradley. Did not mean to cut you off there. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
The 80, the target car is third in line on the bottom, hit the apron and almost shot up the track and almost caused an accident. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that got me off guard as well, but still in control of this race here is Matthew Brown, trying to pull those lanes together evenly, but now down to the inside and going for the race lead. I believe we're looking at the 19 of Christopher Appleby, but now coming down to the inside is Bobo Jones as well, back to the triple file. But with 3 laps to go, plenty is going to change before we get to checker flag of this one, and you see Matthew Brown leading at the stripe, trying to get that push on the outside line.
Yeah, you're right. 3 laps to go. The drivers are definitely getting a little bit more antsy to get up to the front there. Bradley, I actually have a question for you. Whenever it is down this close to the race and you have a chance of winning this, what is going through your head as a driver at this moment?
Well, keep in mind that one bad move might end your day. You want to keep in the draft, you want to block, but make sure you're blocked. When you block, you just don't wreck it all. And you don't want to lose the draft, and you don't want to mess up at all. So, want to keep it clean and hope that there's not a caution.
Yeah, a lot of times it's about finding that balance between trying to figure out how aggressive do I want to be here, or do I really want to make this move here, try and put myself in a better position, but making bold
Oh, there they go!
Oh, we got a wreck there in turn number 1. Several cars going around.
Oils is in it.
Robert Owen Miles, and we're racing back to the line. We got to get back here to the leaders here. There you see the 87 of Boy going to get clear off 2. But what's going to happen down this back straightaway? Because DeLello gets clear for 2nd. Will he have enough of a run to get around him, though, by the time they get back around to the line?
I believe this is possibly for the win of the race, considering we're coming down to... It'll be lap 20 when we pass the finish line.
This is going to do it.
So this will be it. It looks like the only 2 cars that have a decent lead, though, is the 87 and the 80. I don't know if the 10 and the guys behind him will...
He's going to try to move!
He dives to the inside there. It's going to be...
Yeah, right. He's got a huge run. This might be good enough. Here they come to the checker flag. Get out the cameras as a photo finish. And I think Zachary DeLello is going to edge him out. He got him.
He got him! Wow!
Unbelievable run there coming down the front stretch. I thought he was toast. But he stole the win away. And Zachary DeLello in the target number 80 machine is going to come home with the victory here at Armory Digital after an impressive penultimate lap pass. And he's going to take the checkers under the caution here. We had a humongous accident in turn number 1. I have to say about 10 cars involved in it. So well worthy of the caution, but still unbelievable. DeLello pulling out at the perfect time and edging him at the stripe by 2/100ths of a second. A very close finish and a great finish as well. Ashland Boyd, heartbreaking for him nonetheless, because I mean, if you're coming to the line and you're clear somebody coming out of turn number 4 and you don't beat him back to the stripe, that is such a demoralizing feeling, because I think Boyd probably thought as well that he had it. I didn't think the inside line had as much momentum as it did, but DeLello, he just again executed that move. He just shot straight down to the inside line, had a huge run the whole way to the line, and carried that momentum to victory. Unbelievable.
Keep in mind, in the Truck Series race here, back last year, the race did end under caution, with Miklo Nwangwu getting the win in that 78 truck.
And it will end under the yellow flag again. Wow. What we just saw here at Armory Digital, remarkable finish, and now daytime is the right time perhaps, but like we said, a big accident though, just past the 2 to go point. But now coming to the checker flag, under the pace laps, or not pace laps, but under the caution lights here, it is Zachary DeLello out in front, and he will get the win in race 9 at Turkey Hill Series here at Armory Digital.
Incredible finish.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible is the best way to describe it right there. And Zachary DeLello, I gotta imagine he's a pretty happy camper. But now we gotta take a look at some of the situations here involving plenty of drivers looking like a ton of damage done to. Is that the 88?
Yeah,
and Lathan Strickland involved in this wreck here, and Owen Miles. I mean, I saw Owen Miles get shot down to the inside and hit hard by someone behind him down on that apron, And I feared it, and if anyone got stuck on that apron, because that's a steep banking, kind of tough for you to transition from the apron back on the racetrack at such a slow speed. But hopefully that did not happen. But still, some hard damage here. Got to take a look at what happened to bring out this final caution. So they're coming to the line here with 2 laps to go, and you can just see it. Ryan Benjamin pinching up a little bit against John Andrews, and that causes this whole thing to fall apart like a house of cards. And you see the back of this pack not as bunched up as the front, and I think that's a good thing because that prevents this wreck from being too humongous, but even that, it was humongous nonetheless. But Daniel Voiles, your pole sitter in this race, getting involved, but that's not the most important casualty. You see the 41, your points leader, Josh King, getting involved. There's plenty of other guys at the top of the point standings as well that were in this, but take a look at this. Oh, big impact right there. The 0-0 of Mitchell Collins with nowhere to go to avoid that wreck. And you see, I mean, like I said, about 10 cars involved in this wreck. Yeah, Mitchell Collins was in that right there. I don't know exactly who hit the 52 whenever he shot back down the racetrack, but there you see some of these cars totally demolished. And even though Josh King did not get too much damage out of that, it was at the back of the pack anyway, so really doesn't matter. The damage was done.
So as you can see, Ryan Benjamin, like Luke said, he got pinched up by the 32, John Andrews, and then Voiles got in it, and then King got in a hard hit for Hunter Blade in the 88, and then they were able to drive away, but it didn't matter since the 80 car got the win. And as you can see, the 52 getting involved with a huge hit, and they're racing down the backstretch for the win. Hard hits and a huge wreck to bring out the final, and caution to bring out the final laps, and checker flag is in the air for the 80, and we're gonna watch this here. He makes the move to the inside, and he gets him in the tri-oval because of the low line. So yeah, we all thought it was crazy, but that's a really close finish. He almost got beat by the 87.
And timing was everything on that exchange. You saw it right there. He's just kind of waiting to build up all that momentum, cuts it down at the perfect time like we were talking about. That's the difference between winning and losing a race in the Turkey Hill Series right there. That's what separates the boys from the men, if you will, in terms of who can make that type of move. Perfect execution on behalf of Zachary DeLello.
And DeLello with another Napa fan win, his first in the Turkey Hill Series. Nathan Stapleton getting a win as an owner, and Ashlyn Boyd almost had it. If I'm not mistaken, I feel like Ashlyn Boyd's won here before in the Turkey Hill Series back in season number 4, but couldn't pull it off. Bobo Jones, Nick Smith, and Zach Rogers the top 5, and it was all over the place at the end. It was all over the place the entire race. A little bit surprised at actually how much passing we had for the race lead when the trucks came here last November. Or actually, it was last December, I should say. It was pretty much McAngelo Nwangwa's race the whole way through. He led half the race. Even though he had a caution in the middle of all that, he still was able to stay up front. No one was the solid guy in this race, and it was all over the place. But you see the guys knocked out. Josh King didn't get knocked out, but finished in the 34th position. Now, you know what you want, but had a really good points lead in the guy he was beating in the points. Jake Rogers finished below him still, so should still be a good points day, or should I say points lead for Josh King. Wasn't a good points day at all for him, but either way, final thoughts on this race, guys. Interesting one here from Armory Digital, and the Chick-fil-A Cup Series, they're going to be coming here in July, so what do you think is going to happen for those guys once we come here a few months from now?
Honestly, I think it's going to end in another caution. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. Remember the Truck Series race, and then now this race ended under caution again. So I'm going to place my bets on it's going to end in a caution. And honestly, again, it's going to be a little bit more higher speeds than the Turkey Hill Series and the Cup Series, which means that they might overshoot and get loose and hit the apron in the straightaways, which could shoot up, into the pack and completely huge wreck. But the finish, though, that was amazing. Back to the line. Excuse me about that, but the finish, though, was a really nice finish, and congrats to Zachary DeLello getting the win, and heartbreak for Ashlyn Boyd missing it by that much.
Yeah, absolutely, Bradley, and make a good point there talking about if we had 2 races now that are and then underneath yellows. But the saying 3 times the charm, maybe we'll get a green flag finish coming down to the finish for the Chick-fil-A Cup Series race whenever they come in the hot sun here at this 2.6 mile super speedway in July. But either way, I mean, Zachary DeLello executing the perfect pass. And I remember I talked about leading into this race about how, oh, you got to prepare, you got to think about all the different things that people are doing throughout the race and see if you can make that move. I don't know if Zachary DeLello learned that from anybody else, because I didn't see that too many times throughout this race. So just interesting to note there. But that's about all I have for you. So what a race we saw here today. But once again, congratulations to Zachary DeLello on an impressive victory, edging out Ashlyn Boyd. But incredible stuff here today at Armory Digital. Once again, Zachary DeLello and Nathan Stapleton, the victors and the champions here at Armory Digital with that last lap pass.
Zachary DeLello going to gain some momentum in the point standings. You guys will see that here in a moment. And we'll say, too, when we come back in July, both races are going to be under the nighttime, both the second Turkey Hill Series race and the Chick-fil-A Cup Series race. So a little bit more traditional conditions, but a very fun race here from Armory Digital. Next weekend, Turkey Hill Series is off, so the next race is another famous super speedway, even more famous, is Talladega coming up in 2 weeks. But next weekend, we will have the Cheerwine 400 in the Chick-fil-A Cup Series from the Rockingham Speedway. That's always a fan favorite race. I really am looking forward to seeing how that one plays out. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to Luke Rainey, Trey, Barto, and Bradley Reim for calling this race. They did an excellent job. And everyone have a happy Easter. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Zachary DeLello, and here are the points for the Turkey Hill Series after 9 races. I will see you guys later.